I met a gypsy.
Was the goal and the plan and the vision, and the reality of the circumstances didn't allow it. And I hate that. And it's just like my feelings with Feld. Like I feel like Feld and our dream got a little smashed here together. I think KTM and my dream got smashed together because of the reality that was outside of the control of racing. It had nothing to do with racing. It was other stuff. And now those kids are on blue bikes, and I'm happy for them, and I'm grateful that they made it, but I'm gutted. I hate that team.
What do you think about the strategy of Bobby and Star? I mean, like, is it sustainable? Like, is there I guess I just don't know the financials. Like, I just don't know the deals that they're on. I don't know the money those guys are making, but it's like they got everything there. Maybe it's way cheaper because they have the facility now, and it's like the overheads are like essentially lower in a strange way, even though it doesn't look like it. But it seems insane to have like 15 dudes at a photo shoot, all good guys. Like,
I think, okay, let me go back to the John Madden football game approach. When I would build the roster back in the day, because all these players in there had their little, speed was 98, and then throwing, the little categories that make them them, and that's what I would look at. I'd be like, okay. So I would build a roster based around what that was on that team. When you roster build like that, you have to have a vision, and there's multiple visions that you can have. Their vision is the shotgun approach, which is shoot the gun, whoosh, and something's coming through.
You're hitting the duck somewhere.
Which is a confusing model when you have Hayden Deegan on your team, because you don't have to do that. Like, if you're them and you have him, you get to play the rest of the board pretty easy if you want to, but for whatever reason, they just want like 100 kids on that property, and that's their model. They look, they don't all make it through there. If you notice, their track record is actually not good. Outside of Deegan, they haven't had a lot of success with the youth. It's Justin Cooper, Dylan Ferrandis, Colton Nichols, Christian Craig. I mean, they win with the older boys. So, by the way, Max Anstey, if you're watching, you're next.
On.
You're next.
Yeah, you're up.
But that's a model. They shotgun. KTM didn't do it that way. And every year is going to work itself out different based on a lot of variables. But look at KTM's model in 24. They had 2 on KTM, 2 on Gas, 2 on Husqvarna. That they had 6 between 3 brands. Star had 150 between 1. That was just their model. Yet at Salt Lake City, it was Tom Vial with the championship. It was RJ Hampshire with the championship, and it was Cole Davies. We swept it. All 3 brands. We won all 3 250 championships. Like, when I sat down with KTM in the very beginning, that's what they said. We're going for 250. We're fixing this, and we're all in from every angle. And we did it. KTM, Husky, Gas won all 3 with a very trim roster because it was the right people. RJ was ready. Tom had some help. That East Coast series was crazy, but he got himself ready enough to be ready to win that, and he did win that. Let's not forget, he had some moments that he could have thrown away, and he didn't. So Tom won that.
Well, also not to discredit Tom at all, but in a championship with 9 whoops.
Oh boy, you want to go?
I've said enough on 9 whoops. I don't need to say anymore. But it does play in, like, it's a thing.
It worked. Whatever.
It's a thing.
Their roster was tight, trim, whatever, and it worked. And they won, and Star didn't win either. Neither did Pro Circuit, who has 1 million guys. So it's just a different approach on how you go about it. But sometimes you run a trim roster and you don't got the right guys, and now you're like running this small team and you're getting smoked. So that exists too. And then sometimes you run a big old team with 100 people and you're Mitch Payton, you're going 1 through 4 at the East-West Showdowns like he used to do. So both models work if you find the right kid. And that's my biggest message, I guess I would say, from all this amateur futures combine team coaching and training and trying to figure out this last chapter. They're all individuals. They're all different uniquely, and you need to find what works for each one of them for them to succeed. You don't just send them here because it worked for that guy. You don't send them over there because it worked for that guy. It has to be customized around the rider. That's why Juju was so good. He's got Davey, and it's what he needs. He needs Davey. Cole Davies had Will Hahn. Star's program, Swanee, I think Swanee's a great coach. I mean, the resume's there. But that model where he is responsible for a bunch of these kids who are all grinding and like a bunch of blades just sharpen each other all the time, maybe that works this year and someone breaks through out of there. But maybe it doesn't. And maybe they have another year where it's Hayden Deegan carrying the load for the rest of the team, and it looks like they're doing well, and really they're not doing well. They just have freaking danger. So to me, we'll find out how they do this year because they do have a good roster. Stars made all the right moves. They took great kids. They took another good amateur in Caden Dudney. They have done some really, really good things right now, and they are actually built to be pretty successful, but they got to go do it. So we'll see if they can this year, but at the end of the day, it's just not the approach that I don't believe in that shotgun method, at least in the big bikes. I think mini bikes is fine. I ran it a little bit that way on the mini bike side of our team. I blew up the roster, made it bigger, grabbed a couple of kids that were more prospect than winners. So I know what that's like, but to me, that's when you're just trying to acquire talent and get them under the umbrella so you can educate. But when you're going for wins, I don't see why you'd want to run that loaded of a team. There's fighting over resources, attention, dealing with life and personality and mood swings. I mean, to me, that seems like a cluster, and it seems to be that way on the result sheet too. So I don't know. We'll see. This year, maybe they turn it all around and crush, but it's been a while since they've had success young. Outside of crazy Deegan, dude, who's...
Yeah, I mean, he's just an enigma in the sport, you know?
Yeah, don't relate anything to him.
No, he's his own thing.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.